this seems to be where we were going for non-spatialized sounds before. So there's that. Yeah, I can't do anything about the internet connection today. Sorry. We'll see. We'll see if it only happens this morning or if this is going to be a recurring problem. It's an extra drag because I wasn't recording this locally, so it's not like I could post it to YouTube. It's just like I was going to do it from Twitch, which now is a disaster. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to try to work and ignore the stream drops. Yeah, it's a good time to start recording locally, but not for this stream. This stream is already ruined. And we're not doing anything too important today. It's similar in character to what we did before. It's actually easier. So the other audio streams on YouTube are a good representative resource for people wondering how that kind of work goes in games or in this language or what have you. The problem isn't Twitch. The problem is my home internet connection. Can't blame Twitch for everything. Okay, so maybe not. So I'm going to check that later. For now, we're just making this work. Okay, so for many channel music. Okay, if the streams, if we're outputting to, no, this is the source number of channels. So if it's mono, then we just sort of pick some weights for the various 5.1 and go to them. All right. So this case is for when we have 1 or 2 channel input and many channel output. So we say, well, here's our mix. This is the mix of stuff that we chose for the witness, and maybe it's fine. So front channel 1, center channel 0.7, so that's going to get some of both fronts. Subwoofer rear gets just a little bit. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay, no. Well, that's still coming out the center channel. I suspect maybe we set the listener at some point. Well, let's find out. Let's make a debug build. I don't have a Visual Studio running. Let me close this one so I don't have too many windows. You run this. And where do we want to break? Let's see if we ever call update listener. I don't think we do, but we might. I thought I took it out. No, we don't. Okay, so then what is the deal here? Whoops. Okay. Okay, we're not even getting there. Oh, this is for locked output. I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay. Well, maybe it's the right thing. Okay. Okay. This needs to be, or we have no listener. Right? If you don't have a valid listener position, if you don't have a valid listener position, you can't spatialize. I mean, come on, bro. Oh, that sounds better already. Look at that. Does music work? Maybe not. Oh, this level doesn't have music? Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So we've got some output in the rear channels, but just a little bit. It sounds kind of muffled to me. Maybe these headphones are bad. Maybe I'm doing something wrong about crossing channels over. Do front left and front right look too identical to you? It looks like exactly the same waveform, which I don't think that it should. Like, I think if we're outputting to stereo, those would not look as exactly the same as they do. Oh no, they're different. They're different. And this actually sounds fine. I mean, not really. The drivers in these headphones are pretty bad, honestly, I'm turning down the desktop audio so that people will stop complaining. Okay, so it is playing different channels. Maybe that other sound is mono. Okay, so that's done. At least to first approximation. Mix better mix to 5.1 when listener position has not been designated. So that never came up. So we pulled that code over from the witness, and in the witness, we set the listener position every frame all the time. Unless we're playing menu sounds, in which case those are explicitly flagged not to spatialize. So that case never came up in the witness. All right. So now what we want to do, let's switch back to regular old stereo so I can get rid of these headphones. Which now means we're going to have to change all the output devices. Okay, that's changed, and then we need to change OBS to output. I don't know why this stuff can't just work. All right, let's see if you guys get desktop audio now. Yeah, okay. So the next thing is recall that we have this thing where we could play different versions of a sound. Right now, every time we play a sound, if there's 10 versions, we just pick a random number between 1 and 10, and we play that. And the thing about that is you're, of course, subject to all these issues that you get with randomness. Like, you could play the same sound 2 or more times in a row, or you could play, multiple, like a small number of sounds very frequently, and it just sounds very repetitive even though you have 10. And you might think that's a low probability, but if people play a game for a long time, it's going to happen frequently, just because they're going to be hearing these sounds a lot. Why is this in Steam? Oh, that's a good point. Let's not be in Steam. Well, no. So changing the random number generator can to something with a different distribution can help, but it won't solve the problem. I think what we're actually, so what the sound people have requested to solve the problem is just that, and again, this won't completely solve it either. Well, it sort of will. So what we can do is, every time we want to play a version of the sound, we check to see if we've got, so basically you could say, look, if there's 10 versions, we're going to shuffle those and then just play them in some order so that we're guaranteed to visit all 10, right? Of course, you can still then get a repeat where when you run out of the 10 and you reshuffle the next 10, if you get the same one first as you got last time, so you would want some additional protections on that. So anyway, that's what he requested. I'm not sure that's the best way to do it because it requires like storage and all that. But I don't really know of a better way. Is there a rough release date on the language? Not totally. Like, we're trying to get it out to closed beta this year. There are probably well-known solutions to this from media players. All media players that I use are pretty terrible, so I don't know if I would trust their solutions. Like, certainly my iPhone is really bad at shuffle play. So, I don't know what to say there. So the question here is, do I go ahead and implement that, which should be relatively fast to implement? Or do we try to do something fancy where we try to do something like, blue noise or whatever that people do? like, I don't know how you would map that to a problem like this. It's just not a kind of problem that I solve very often, so I'm not sure how to think about it. Or is it pink noise? I don't know what color of noise is the one. You prefer green noise. Yeah. Well, green noise is pretty good. Plaid noise is good. You know, there are just different noises and they taste different. All right, so we're just going to do it with the permutations. Okay. So let's do this. We're going to go into Mixer. This is, or not in Mixer, we're going to go into Sokoban. So in that part of the stream that kept dropping out, we split this off from the main mixers thing, and that's good because part of what we're going to do here now is we're going to say, I don't know, variant Q and we're just going to have these. So if the variant Q is empty when we want to play a sound, we're going to reshuffle it if there are variants. And when we shuffle it, we're going to reject the shuffle and reshuffle if last variant played. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Black noise. Okay. When we reload the asset, we have to reset this stuff because we might have fewer variants or something when we edit that file, or we might have more. So if there's an existing shuffle, then that's no good. Oh, I guess we're calling them versions, but I want to change that because version sort of means like file versions a lot of the time. Anyway, okay, so where do we use these versions? This is why it's not so great to use a word like versions. Sound catalog, well, there's one, there's one, there's one. Okay. So if we have versions, then we check if reset variant Q for data. That'll just look up the number of versions. And then index is pop of +1, right? All right. So now we should just get undeclared on reset variant Q. Yeah. All right. So we're going to assert that you should have more than one variant if you called us. And then for actually, we don't need to do this +1 because these are going to be numbers. These are going to be one base. We're going to go from 1 to variance array add we add that number. Okay, so now we're going to shuffle them. I think I have a shuffle. Maybe I don't. All right. So I'm going to well, we're just going to do, let's just make a shuffle. And then if, let's just make a shorter name for this. Right, it's the array A. So if the first element is equal to our last, what did we call it? Last variant played. Instead of reshuffling the whole thing, we'll just swap it with someone internal to the thing. We will only do that if variance is greater than 1. Because if it's equal to 1, there's no point. Okay, and then, oh, this is data dot. And then after we've done that, we say data dot last variant played equals -1. Now we forgot to set this. So when we call reset variant Q, we pop this, we say data dot last variant played equals index. Otherwise that will never come into play. Play random noise, but don't play the previous noise. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you still run into things about replaying the second one. You could queue end noises. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of, it would be appealing to do this without arbitrary array storage, but I figured, like, hey, let's just do it this way for once, because I've never done this exact solution before. I'm not convinced it's a good solution, but like I said, I don't know a better solution right now. I want to get this going so that the audio guys have something today that they can work with. But yeah, we may replace this with something better later. All right, so mods. So variance is at least 2. We mod variance -1. and then plus 1, right? So if it's at least 2, then we'll be modding by 1, which can be 0. So we only pick the second element. If it's 3, then we could be 0 or 1 plus 1, so we could be 1 or 2, right? So then we say like that. Let's just say a.data 0. It's clearer. I mean, it's not, this data is different from this data, so that's what I get for calling my thing data. Maybe I should rename it. I don't know. I don't know, dude. It's just something that happens. Okay, array, yeah. Shuffle. Let's make it polymorphic. Which is maybe not great. So there's probably high quality ways to shuffle. This is not going to be one of those. I'm going to say for I is 0 to a dot count minus 1, right? So I0 is random get mod a.count. If a.count is less than 2, return. I1 swap all right. Well, maybe this all works. What are the chances? 2, 8, 10, 4, 9, 5, 1, 3, 7, 6, 7, 8, 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 3, 1, 9, 2, 3, 6, 1, 9, 5, 4, 7, 10, 8, 9, 10. See, we're getting numbers a little bit close to each other sometimes, but it's, you know, it seems to be working as intended. Let's reload the sound tweaks. Let's say, wait, there's only 3 versions of Fighter Move now. Oh, that didn't. Oh, okay. We only reset that. That reset that I did is not when we load the sound tweaks. It's when we reload the sound itself, which probably actually never happens for these. So yeah, we need to do that. Let's make clear variant Q. We'll do it here just in case. Sokoban sound data. Should have called it sound up here. Let's call this sound and not data, because, yeah. Because then using the word data all over the place is not as bananas, because it doesn't happen. Okay, so that compiles. Now, when we reload the tweaks, okay. Now let's do that same test. So we're walking around, we've got numbers from 1 to 10. Now we're going to turn it down to 3. Hey, look, we've got 1 to 3. Now we're going to turn it down to 2. Oh, we've got 1 and 2. Now we're going to turn it down to 1. Hey, look, it didn't crash due to mod 0 or anything. Okay, now we're going to go 15, which don't all exist. Oh, does it know for some reason? Oh, some of them are failing to play. That's what's happening. You're not seeing them in that list because they're just failing to, yeah. Okay, 10. 10 is the right number. Great. That is everything I wanted to do for today. I mean, not for today, but for today's morning time. Do I plan on making it public? Yeah, sometime. Yeah, I talk about once in a while on the YouTube streams. There's a bunch of streams on YouTube about where people ask this in Q&A, and I go into pretty long explanations about why we haven't released it yet. Yeah, we will when it's ready. Yeah, I do. I need to type up a fact that explains these things, because they are things that people want to know. Interesting question is, if there are 2 variants, do you want AB, AB? So right now, we get AB, 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 and that's fine. I don't think it's going to be a very common thing to have 2 variants. If we decide that it's better to play the same one twice in a row, in that case, we can just put an if statement. All right, I think that's it for the stream. I think it's time for me to finish my morning and go to work. Thanks everybody for coming by. And I will see you all later on. Oh, let's find someone to host. We gotta always host people. Let's see. Let's see if we've got any programmers. Programming. All right, let's try a video game first, because, you know, game development. Crowfall Q&A. That doesn't look like programming. there's like never anyone just chilling and programming. New dungeon system. Okay, maybe that looks like actual programming. People are too embarrassed to program in public. Let's see what's going on here. That's not programming. Well, it's Python, so it's a little bit programming. Where? I don't see. Oh, there. Okay, we're doing epilepsy warning again. Epilepsy warning. See you all later.